So let's go.
Good evening to our viewers and welcome to the 1873 TV, Your Vision, Your Power. My name is Tinashe Mpaseri. This afternoon, this evening on the 1873 TV, we bring you yet another insightful, informative and interesting show that is building communities of shared interest, as we are joined by the 1873 Mentees Circle. Joining me this evening happens to be Mr. Mutungwa Mawere. Mr. Mawere, a very good evening and welcome.
Good evening.
It's a good morning. Afternoon,
I'm also joined by Kenyiwe Sindane. Kenyiwe, a very good evening and welcome. Joining us again this evening, Trevor, Oscar, as well as Simba.
Evening,
Gentlemen, a very good evening and welcome to the 1873 TV.
Thanks for having us.
Sometimes the lights, they confuse me, and I think it's happening. So yes, if you happen to be tuned in for the first time, we've been having discussions. Firstly, we had a conversation on the framing mentorship program. And now we are looking at building communities of shared interest. As of yesterday, we were just drawing lessons from the Continental Sunrise Breakfast Show and the shows that come after the Continental Sunrise Breakfast Show as far as property is concerned, the idea of property, which we find that many times when we look at individuals, they often talk about ownership, but without understanding what it is. They are profoundly illiterate about it. And this conversation that we are having is also enabling me as an individual to better understand this aspect of ownership and, more importantly, the idea of property. I'm one individual who wants to acquire property. And when we talk about property, what is it? I've come to understand that property is also within me as an individual, and that property is my intellectual property, which I use to be able to come up with ideas of value that I can exchange in order for me to acquire physical property. And how do I secure that property once I've acquired it? So these are some of the issues that we as individuals need to better understand. And I also, more importantly myself, I need to better understand.
I like that. I remember conversation. We have a lot of conversations with Mr. M. And one thing that stood out to me this other day, I forgot the day specifically, and he said that before you build a house, before you build an institution, where does it all start? And it actually starts with the mind. So your mind is the most powerful weapon as well. And today what I learned earlier on when we had a meeting is that nothing is as powerful as the human spirit. Because no matter how much one can try to discourage you as a person, no matter what can happen, but when you have this zeal for life, and when you've got this persistence and this resilience for life, nothing can stop you. So the power of the human spirit, especially when we correlate that with regards to building communities, it is very strong. So you need to have that krach, that zeal, that chias in Africans, that power, have it. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents. So, yeah.
So I think as you guys were on air this morning,
Yes.
what stood out? What did you learn?
Okay, what I learned today is that this issue of property and ownership has not been really understood by a lot of people out there. They do not know what it is, and where it comes from? Are there people who were born with it? Are there specific people who were born different or special to say these ones have these physical properties that we see, or physical wealth that we see? But what we have learned today is, apart from the physical property that we are accustomed to, there's the first property of the intellectual mind that invent or create or put into existence such property in this physical form that we see. So it's just the same with what she's also saying, that the most important thing that we need to do is we need to develop our intellectual property and realize that as an individual, I have everything that I need. Everything has been created there for me to put out there to the world and become creative and run my own race. Is the world, just like what we say every day, that the world has been, the world and its inferior creatures and everything that is in it has been made common to all men.
But if somebody were to ask you, why are you doing this? Every day you are learning
Yes.
about something that you may not have, which is property.
Physical property.
Yeah. So physical property. So if you were to introduce the show, you are now the presenter.
Yes.
Where would you start?
Okay. Where I would start is, if I would put physical, if I would
No,
label-
assume you're talking to
Okay.
Trevor,
Yes.
and you are the one who has attended the first one, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. You are now talking to your grandmother. What did you do today? Why is this? I mean, you are confusing me. Talking about big words, but they are hollow. Because what we need is just money to pay bills. What Desire needs is just money to get to Zimbabwe, and what? It is not interested in big stories.
Yes.
So what is it that this whole show is? Some people call it what? Mentee. Second, it means we are lazy.
Yeah.
We don't have subject matter. So if we're thinkers, then imagine you put yourself in the minds of the philosophers
Yes.
who had no electricity, no transportation, no cars, no planes. So all they spent their time was thinking about just life. Where would you start? I'm now the I'm now the grand what?
The grandmother.
The grandmother. So talk to me.
Okay. I don't know how you want me to talk
No,
to
no.
you, but I would say,
No, you are already part of the what? Now the furniture. And we want Trevor to what? Yeah. What is this all about? You've been away. Now you come in, people are talking about too many things. Where are we going? I'm a musician.
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I not departing from my way, my purpose is to entertain people, to make people happy, not think about big things. So where would you start? You are now the presenter. The mic is now with you.
I'm the presenter.
Yeah.
Or I'm asking.
No, you are presenting to the world now to say, this is this show. Today I learned this. That I just wanted to share with you.
Oh, okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 1873 network. We're having the Mentee Circle with Mutunwa Zivamawere. And today I'm just going to share with you guys what I learned. And it was quite an enlightening day for me because I learned quite a lot, starting with this issue of property. You know, so many times we dwell on the physical side or the physical definition of the word property, but today I was taken back to where it all starts from, where it's all supposed to start from, which is the mind. You know, the mind, like Slang said, it's a very powerful weapon, and you need to have this. You need to start with an idea. Today I learned about, you know, just starting with an idea and making sure that you have an idea that is good, because money follows an idea. And if you have an idea today, make sure it's a good idea, and make sure you keep improving and working on that idea. You know, just being, what's the word that I can use? Being productive and being innovative with the idea that you have.
So you've already run out of time.
Yeah.
And
Have I?
and I'm still trying to understand.
Yeah, I know.
Watershed Lily, welcome. Say, agree, bro. It comes down to the birthright lottery. It is up to the more privileged to offer opportunities for the growth you are talking about for others. I personally think it starts with education, both formal and informal. So imagine just having a conversation, and you are what? You are now Simba. What would you say? What comes to mind?
All right. From my side, I learned a lot today.
Okay.
I learned about property. Property is something which is vested in you by the Creator. It's something which is you. If you use that something that you have, like me, I have my talent as a musician. I do music. I can sing. Right? I can be the voice of the world. Throwing out beautiful words that can help someone in life through music, in a form of exchange.
Okay.
So that I get value out of it. So, you want to say something?
So I'm telling you that you want to interrupt you want to interrupt Philip Parair Seren Botswana is watching you guys. Yeah, so
What up, man?
so you understand why it's difficult to tell somebody,
Yeah.
Yeah, it is difficult.
because when you think about it, you spend a lot of hours, a lot of minutes, a lot of
Think too
seconds.
much.
No, a lot of seconds on this subject matter. Yet when you are asked to actually extract what you learned and put it aside, you are not talking about what you learned. Did you learn about a person called Thomas Aquinas? You remember that character? Huh? You were in the show.
Yeah, we learned about him.
Okay.
And
Did you learn about Aristotle?
Yeah.
And Aristotelian.
Yeah, Aristotelian.
Yeah, you learned about it.
Yeah.
And why the issue of property and the relations between man and property is a critical part. And why I'm wondering where is the female representation of young mentees in the program? Were they none present? No, they're there. This is just, it's not even a mentee circle. This is just our own conversation based on what happened today on radio, which we wanted to share with you. These are presenters. She's a presenter on the show, what?
Shifting the Paradigm.
Yeah, between what time and what?
Every weekday between 1200 hours to 1500 hours Central African time.
So it's just sharing with you, Farai, that let's just share about this. If you think the idea of property is understood or sufficiently understood, please do register your interest in it. Why property? Just a second.
I can. We are simply continuing from the program that we had.
Yeah.
In extending. Oh, yeah.
So we are, I think as MC Wildfire says, sharing what is learned in the morning show. We're just sharing with you. This morning we had a robust conversation. One of the areas that we did touch on, which is a critical part, is that look at the history of human civilization.
Yes.
There was a period in the evolution of human civilization where others, human beings, were property, were owned,
Slaves.
which is slaves.
Yes.
So a slave was not treated as a human being. And
Reality TV, don't be surprised.
you got them? Okay. So if we take the civilization and say one person is property, it's like this object. I have unfettered rights to it.
Yes.
It can't get tired. It can't sleep. I can use it anytime, like a car. While I'm asleep, the car is waiting for me. It can't resist my use or abuse. It is there. So as property, we have this understanding of property residing in you. I think that's what we wanted
Yes.
to say. But if you were to build a city with poor people, where would you start?
Okay, there's a comment that is coming from Olivia Mufandaedza on the 1873 TV Facebook page. She states that, I feel as black people, we need a quantum leap when it comes to property investments. We are living in the information age and not the industrial age. Therefore, we need to get information on how we can get black people to catch up with races that had a 400-year head start in property investments. Let's explore such ways.
In fact, is it what FM?
TV.
Yeah, so you see, they again, this is why we need to be able to be alert. We need to be able to think. And I think Olivia Mpandaedza Mushamba, first, I feel as black people already, I'm already a people that is black. So first, we need to understand what does a black person look like, and whether there's a special relationship between blacks and time, blacks and property, blacks and the inherent rights of the faculty of reasoning, the free will, liberty. Is there a special relationship, Olivia, between this black character and reason? Between the black character and reality? When it's sunrise, is there a special sunrise time? The sun will rise for blacks?
6 o'clock.
I feel, thank you for highlighting that from the beginning. Because I believe most people, whenever they see what we're doing here, whenever we talk about property, probably in most people's minds, they are thinking that we are going to give ideas on how to buy properties and have a lot of investment business. But the reason why we are starting from the beginning, because even if you are given 20 properties to manage, or how to become a business person in that, and then you're not equipped from the inside, then that business will eventually die. So that's why we need to start from the beginning to say, as an individual, you have everything that you need to prosper. So the fact that we have labels, like what Mr. Mawere is saying.
Yeah, says, cameraman, please hold your gun nicely.
Just It's a good.
No, that's not. They are not interested in anything breaking.
Yeah.
So we're not only focusing on the issue of property and buying properties and ideas on how you can have a lot of physical properties only. We'll get there. This is the journey that we're taking to go there. But we are working on an individual first to say the
In
first
fact,
property that you have within you. Let's work on them.
In fact, is it Philip Farai Rusere? Please go to the 1873 TV Facebook page. Then the camera is steady. We are using a phone for the Zimbabwe today. So please, if you need clarity, you need a better reception and better sound, we encourage you to go to the 1873 TV Facebook page. You can Google and find it. So I think
Okay, so
Oscar,
as I was saying on that issue that you said about I feel as black, that's a label that limits you as an individual from becoming something. So that's what we want to try and understand together. That is there a certain a race that has been created disabled, that which is known as the black or the red or what? So if we get to the root of that, then we'll all end up appreciating each other's success and hard work. So
I
that's
think
what we want to start
she's raising, okay? She's raising on point there, Olivia. That's Nicholas Gadzekwa. We need a quantum leap, we, not I. When it comes to property investment. An investment is an investment. It's deferred consumption. If you defer consumption, you are likely going to have what? The value you need to secure a future. We are living in the information age and not the industrial age. Therefore, we, not I, need to get information on how we can get black people, can I cause somebody who is black to behave in the manner that I wish them to behave? So most of the things that we are talking about, Olivia, is to go to the root cause of this design of life. Was life designed so that blacks will live it painfully, or as slaves or subjects of others, or we were given the full mental faculties? History has shown that black people, or those with a pigmentation called black, their mind is not black. Their minds are the same as other people's minds. The creativity is the same. The ingenuity is the same. History has shown and defied the logic.
Yeah, because even if we say black, the other black people who are successful.
We can't generalize and create an identity politics out of it.
Yes.
That as we are 2, 4, 6 here, we can't group us into 6 one thing.
Yeah, it's something like
Yeah, even 6 oranges, they only remain 6 oranges. You eat one at a time.
Yes.
You can't take 6 oranges and compress them into one.
No, you don't do that.
But they are all oranges. So let's celebrate the orange in the orange.
I like what Oscar said. As you were talking, my mind was on overdrive. I'm like, oh yes. You touched something quite profound when you explained that we are not here to tell you that this is how you need to invest your money and whatnot, but we want to break it down. And I once made an example this other time to say, what you were saying is that at the end of the day you can have money, but if you don't know how to use it, then it's a problem. Number one. Number two,
You lose it.
you lose it. Number two, this boils down to when we were talking about financial intelligence. And this requires, again, it boils down again to what we're talking about, self-educating, and then you can seek advice. And when you spoke, I remembered the 3 different types of, different separation with finance. For you to be financially intelligent again, you need to be financially literate. And you can only be financially literate if you seek for financial education. And then that will lead to financial intelligence. Hence, financial literacy, financial education, and financial intelligence. Then the last one, like you said, is financial aptitude. Knowing what to do with the money after you have it. Because it's wanting to want that million, but when you have it, where to from here? Hence, yesterday, if I were to boil down or summarize with regards to what I've learned 2 things. Number 1, you once said, Mr. M, good ideas can actually bring you success or guarantee you success. But superior ideas can actually elevate you. Not will, but can. And that solely relies on you if you actually execute.
And if you look at the purpose of this show for the people who are there, it's not really about the transactions that take place between people.
That's a later stage.
It's important, but we are learning about the construction of life. So if we look at where we left yesterday, and Aristotle helps us to understand better. He says, obsessed with need, the poor are too degraded to participate in politics like free men.
True. That's the
Power is
society.
in the hands of the majority.
So what he's saying is that even today, when you look at voting, when you look at active citizenship, the poor are not active. They are like football. They get kicked everywhere, every 5 years. Somebody will kick them and get them to the goal line. But they are not participative because they are too destroyed. Because some of them, when you are poor, you can't even think about what happens in government when I can't even get to a government office.
There's no confidence at all.
I'm outside the theater where the public is involved, where public issues are involved. We just did a show on SMM. Tawonga says, I don't even know who the Minister of Finance or Minister of Justice in Zimbabwe is. I don't know this character, and she's honest. But a few hours earlier, she wanted to be a presenter. And she has no knowledge of it. 20 years of her existence has not revealed this character. And it's not a crime that I don't know. I actually don't know. So when you look at the poor, that's what Aristotle said. Obsessed with need. They say in need, freedom is latent. If you stay in someone's house, you are not free. You can never be free.
Never, ever.
Never.
It's not your own.
I can't decide when to have a bath. I can't decide when to open the fridge
Even to switch off.
because I have no stake in it.
You don't own it.
It's not yours.
I can't decide which station. Even if I wanted to see another station and the remote control is there, I can't change it.
Use it
Hey
until tomorrow.
guys.
Yeah.
Where is
And if the owner wants to watch news, I have to subdue myself
What use?
Hey,
and say
discomfort.
whatever the owner likes is what I like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wherever the driver is going, that's my destination.
Sounds like slavery.
No, this is life.
It's not slavery.
These are the majority of the people who make democracy have no stake in it. So if they have no stake in it, Watershed Lily, preach, sister. Everything she's saying is so true. Like she said it. Think this is why it goes back to being educated. Especially when it comes to property rights. Some women, especially in resource poor communities, have no access or the knowledge of how to go about getting land ownership without male signatory. Stripping them of the right to realize the entrepreneurial potential, even as small-scale farmers. I think it's important to discuss how this issue affects men and women differently, especially in our cultural context. Yes, watershed. We need to cross the water first, then we need to go to the shed where we can discuss all these issues. So you are preempting us, but let's go to where we need to go, because we need to understand this condition called poverty. What is it? So that when we understand it, in the words of, we are just borrowing what Aristotle said. You could no more make a city out of paupers than out of slaves. What is the difference between an unemployed person and a person with no purpose and a slave? The only difference is you can cause a slave to smile when the slave is angry. You can cause a slave to produce that which he has no interest in.
No one say anything.
But you can't build a city out of paupers, because that investment needs to be paid for. And pauperization does not allow building of value. So when we say Africa and the inhabitants of Africa, the majority are poor, then we want the democracy that we have borrowed in terms of ideas, without understanding that in need, freedom itself becomes qualified. I have to measure what I say. If I go where knives and forks are used, and I've never used one, I feel out of place. Although there's food. And this is what? These hands are forks and knives, is it? Yeah. And my teeth can cut meat into its proper place, into digestible units. But it doesn't make the one with the fork and knife better human being than me.
Yes.
But to create this society that we are looking for as the future you want, you have to decide. Because the poor are obsessed with need. The rich are obsessed with how to use the resources they have. They actually don't know which car to drive.
Which one to buy?
Yeah, they don't know. Whereas others don't even have one. So, the pauper, this is what Aristotle said in his time, that if you are poor, you must be ruled like a slave. Because giving you rights, that's why colonialism had no patience, no tolerance for people who are poor. That's why Trump is saying, please, let's have a point system, let's have a merit system, so that those who don't have purpose to travel, if you are poor, you are better off staying where you are than travel all these miles to take chances.
But on that one, there's something that we talked about, I think when we were talking to Tsongi.
Yeah.
And then there was a scenario that was given of someone who's walking from Somalia,
Yeah,
coming to the borders of South Africa,
yeah.
in relation to what Trump was saying as well. And then DJ Wildfire posed a question to her to say, okay, this person is poor, has walked
Yeah.
a long journey, looking for a better life.
Yeah.
You know? So what do we do to people who have walked that mile in search of something that they need for survival or for a better life?
Yeah.
Would they be granted access to get into that particular country? And then she said something that was so profound. She said that that particular individual could actually be given access because the fact that they have walked all this long journey, in search of a better way of living, it means that they believe in themselves that much that they are willing to go an extra mile to work on their dash, if you would, or
No.
pulling their own.
But when you remove exclusivity, privacy,
Yes.
sovereignty, what remains of life?
Zero.
So if I cannot prevent you from calling my wife your wife, then what is marriage?
Nothing.
Okay.
So if we believe in countries, believe in families, families by nature are exclusive.
Okay.
So if they are exclusive, each country reserves the right to exclude you. So they're saying, while you are dreaming in your country to say, I want to try my luck in this country, we have a superior claim to exclude you, to put a border.
So then.
That's why we have, each one of us have nation states. The fact that you have a bad one is not my problem. So like the minister, even South Africa cabinet has decided that Zimbabweans who are on DSP, they can apply. But they're saying, imagine we gave this to almost 200,000 people permanent citizens. Just imagine. And just put it in you are a South African who believes, I have a better claim on the promise of South Africa. All of a sudden, these people, the fact that they're in South Africa, it means if they get a job, I can't get it.
Right.
So this idea of exclusion is part of this human operational model. Because human beings don't want competition, but without it, they can't progress. So we have an evil that we have to overcome to go far.
Yeah. 'Cause
So even the Americans, the people who came who couldn't speak even one sentence
Yes.
of English, they arrived in America. And America was good to them because they were good to the promise.
And there were people who were there in America before those people came.
But those who are there already, all they are saying is, my friend, don't get excited, don't come. Stay in your lane.
So then what do we say according to what we have been learning
That's why we need.
about Locke saying that the world has been made common to all men?
No, it says common before we put borders.
Before we put borders.
Once we put borders, please don't get excited. Don't get excited because otherwise you are encouraging chaos
Okay.
and disorder. So let's understand, if all of us have a shared vision
Yes.
that America was built by immigrants,
Yes.
America was built by rejects, people who were called names where they came from.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden, a few hundred years later, the same people who are beneficiaries of that promise are saying the foundational stone that built America, the diversity, this interdependentness, they want to shift the paradigm. They want to remove the foundation of America and say what is written on the Statue of Liberty It's not liberty. Don't come here and say, I'm not educated. I have nothing. Hey, I'm free. The Statue of Liberty was meant for me. They say, my friend, the Statue of Liberty has been changed to the Statue of Means and the Statue of Merit. So if you are not qualified, if you don't have means, whether you acquire the means by your own devices, please come to America and spend it. But if you have nothing, then we are closing the door on you. So if we build a society, the future we want, do we want a future where we close doors on other people just because they are not educated? Do we want a future where the doors are closed because we believe that the promise can only come from those who have already done well? Where are they going to do well? History is full of examples where people who had nothing made something.
Yes.
You know,
So how do you balance
The scale.
the conversation so that when you talk, you are sensitive to this nationalistic spirit, but you are also alive to this expansive definition of life and what the purpose from the design of life could have been. They say, for otherwise their pressing and immediate needs will issue in envy and violence. That, like what we said yesterday, that if you rule people who have no stake in something and give them the rights, imagine you give me a 3-bedroom house and I don't have anything to eat. You are condemning me into a prison with more rooms.
okay. Yes.
So
Oh my God.
this, the poor don't need your charity. No.
All right.
They don't need your patronization. Yeah. Don't talk about me as if I'm a disease. Otherwise, all of us will go and cure. Who can cure poverty? Can you imagine? I go to a doctor and come out of the consulting room. I was poor, I become rich. I go to a government office and I knock. I come out and my hunger is quenched. My thirst is gone.
You know, when we were talking now, the both of you, something sparked, especially when you gave the analogy that Wildfire asked Mutuni with regards to the man who's walking, a long while, blah, 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 etc. Something that sparked in my head is the fact that, number one, we spoke earlier on, especially on episode 1 and 2, that as a young person, you need to be organized.
Yeah.
For success and principles, it follows order. Number 2, there's a difference between being busy and being productive. There are so many people who are so busy, but they're unproductive. I was one of them. Sometimes, you'd be busy, and you get tired, you get home, you're like, oh my God, I need spicy chai tea. But you've been doing nothing. And when you check, yes, right? But you've been doing nothing. You were not productive, but you were busy. And it applies to what Mr. M, you were saying, that I see your body, but where's the value? And again, there's another thing that says, there are so many people who are going nowhere very fast. You're moving very quickly. Your pace is very quick. But when you actually trace the steps to actually see where this person is going, nowhere. And again, you made an example yesterday that Truver got to meet Mr. Welcome Msomi. And it was through accident. It was by accident because he didn't know what was going on. But the outcome was so enriching that it was so amazing. And one thing is because, number one, we are an association already. We are a network. Hence, we're saying log on and register and be a part of us. Because you need to be a part of an association. And by being a part of an association or network, we don't mean that let us, pull you, away from your vision or whatever. No. What we're saying is let's work together. And one profound thing that a friend of mine, Spiso, said is that you are oneness, and oneness refers to self-property. You are property yourself, and you are sharing your oneness with the world. But for it to be streamlined and made to be focused, you need people who are going to help you. You cannot share your oneness if you are half empty. That is why one person would say, if you tell me that I'm full of myself, honey, I will embrace that. I am full of myself because I need to overpour and overshare so that I can share whatever it is that I possess, but I can't just share it if I work in isolation. I need to be a part of something so that together, pyramid, Mr. M, I think you must just explain that. Remember you told us about the pyramid?
Yeah.
It was so beautiful. I think it was repeated, especially for those ones who were listening for the same time, for the first time rather. For me, it was so beautiful how you explained it and everything. I think that, if you can repeat that, I'll be a happy chappy today.
So I think if you look at the structure of any body pyramid, there are more people at the bottom.
Yes.
Few at the top, but they're all human beings. So if you stand on each other's shoulders, you see far.
Yeah.
So the top of the pyramid can see far. The bottom cannot see, but you are in the same structure. So how do you leverage yourself so that you can see the things that you can see? So when you talk about Aquinas, which is where we were today,
Yes.
and then you find that the thinking about this idea of relationship between man and reality, relationship between man and property, how best do we get it through? So I think the biggest challenge we face is abstracting our conversations to deal with the ideas that matter. Once we capture the ideas, then the execution, because the design is where the problem is.
Yes.
Imagining a house that doesn't exist, creating it in the mind and being able to give it life is the other side. So where we have lost the battle is in the battle of ideas. So if we can go back to the ideas, then we would be able to understand better. And that's what this whole enterprise is. So for you out there, as a viewer, somebody who is interested, please, if you are interested in ideas, even a rebellion of ideas, please be part of this conversation on ideas. Because we were colonized by ideas, not human beings.
Yes.
So we can't decolonize ourselves by going to the plantation. So let's pause, let's reflect. There are no classes where philosophy is sufficiently taught and democratized. So this initiative is about democratizing democracy so that more people can enter into a relationship with property and celebrate the role of property in building the kind of society that we want. So on that note, thank you for indulging us.
Well, to our viewers there, thank you for making the 1873 TV your channel of choice. And between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m., be sure to join the 1873 mentorship program WhatsApp group where Mr. Mawere will be available to share his insights, experiences, as well as ideas with you. If you want to be able to be an individual who is well vested with building communities of shared interest, and if you want to go far, without taking much of your time, all you have to do is go to the 1873 www.the1873network.org website. Sign up for membership. Then go to the 1873 Mentees Circle. There is a link that has been shared there. Just click on that link and automatically you will join this WhatsApp group where Mr. Mawere will be available between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. And also, if you go on Facebook on Mutungwa D. Mawere, on the comments section where he had asked if you're interested in being part of this life-changing experience, please shout why. There is a link also that has been shared. Just click on that link to book your seat or your spot for this phenomenal life-changing experience. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Mawere, and thank you, Kenyiwe and the three gentlemen.
When we tied it up, when Mr. M was talking about giants and staying on top of each other's shoulders, I remembered yesterday's song, Salute to all the living legends who've made a difference to humanity. Salute to all the living legends whose shoulders we can all stand on. I took this from you, Oscar.
And salute Mutungwa Mawere, on whose shoulders I stand on.
Yeah.
And goodbye.
That's one of my favorite quotes. If I see so